Hello, wonderful people in this YouTube community. I proudly welcome you to this quick database tutorial brought to you by Akos Data Text. My name is Akos Myla, your instructor in this video. In today's video, I'm going to continue with employee management database creation. We are going to do leave management database. So in the previous video I shared with you on how to come by a very simple database to manage your employees, and I also made a promise in the video that in no time I will be uploading a video on how to also track employees leave. And I think this is a much awaited video, so we are going to do everything about the leave management right in today's video. If you've not subscribed to this wonderful YouTube channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and then turn on the little bell notification icon so that you wouldn't miss any of the videos that we will actually be uploading. So the leave management is actually very broad and depending on where you're coming from, so I'm going to try my possible to give you everything that you will need in actually making your leave management database a success. So just as we did previously, the leave management will also come in two folds, the part 1 and then the part 2, but then 90% of everything is going to cover it in part 1. So guys, without not much we do, let us jump right into it. So in the previous video we had an employee profile that we used to enter records into the employee or add employees into our database. So this is what we created in the previous video. If you have not watched that video, you can just check in the playlist and then check in the playlist for the video titled Employee Management Database. Okay, so we are continuing. Now when it comes to leave management, you will first have to create some couple of tables. So the first table that we are going to create will be the leave type table. So here we click create. Now we go to table design, so we can say type ID here. Now because the leaves, or we can say type code. Now because our leaves are actually, the leave types are not going to be such an extensive list of items, we're just going to have few records in there, so let us leave it to short text, or also leaving it as short, the data type as short text, so that in the future if you want to build some couple of queries, you'll be able to actually build the queries using the textual criteria. Okay, so now this is going to be our primary code. So we also gonna type here leave type. So what's the leave type? Now deduct amount. So deduct amount. Now if an employee comes in for every leave and the person fails to report after the due date, the number of days that will take the person to actually report, or the number of days that the person will miss after the official days given, the person will have to pay an amount for each additional date incurred after the due date. So we have to define it right in here. So for every leave type you specify the deduct amount. Okay, so now that we have the table, let us save it. So I will say leave, so let's say TBL leave types. Okay, all right, so let me go ahead and close this. Now we can click here to view. Okay, so let us define some couple of leave types here. So we have PL, which is a privilege leave. So privilege leave. Now let's say the amount, we are going to leave it blank or 0 for now. Now we also have the LWP, which is a leave without pay. So we also have the sick leave, so SL sick leave. Okay, we also have CL, which is a casual, so we have the casual leave. Now we also have, okay, so let us keep it to these ones. So let's say that the charge for days, the charge for this particular, the deduction amount for this particular leave type, let's say is $100 per each day. Let's say this one is 90. Let's say this one is 50.5. 50.5. Let's say this one is also 60. All right, so now let us So these are some couple of leaf types that we shall actually enter at this phase. Now let us go ahead, as we do in all our database tutorials, for every table. Because the tables are going to store records, it is important for us to create a form that we can use to enter records into the form directly, into the table. So I'll go ahead and click create. Here we go to form wizard. Okay, so we click to bring everything right in here. Go to next. Okay, so the form type is going to be columnar. Next. So here we say FRM leaf. So FRM leaf types. Okay, now let us modify the form design a bit. Okay, so here on top we are going to say leaf types. Okay, so leaf types. Now we are not going to do much on the form design. I have a lot of videos in my channel that teaches how to design forms to look amazing in Microsoft Access. You can check them out and watch, and I believe you're going to be impacted. So now let's select everything here, and the color we set it to black. We increase the font size. Okay, so here we can actually change the color here. Now let us set it to white here. Okay, so this time we make the form a pop-up. To make the form a pop-up, you come to the property sheets. Now you make sure that pop-up is set to yes. So before then, now that pop-up is set to no, let us view the form and see. You can see the form has actually opened to fill the entire window, but then we just want this one to be a very little form. So we come in here, design view. So you just click here to activate the entire form. Now pop-up, we set it to yes. Okay, now the record selectors, we are going to actually allow it, and then also the navigation buttons, we can also allow it. Okay, so now this is the navigation, the record selector, and what we have in here is the navigation button. So if you want to get rid of the navigation button, then simply you come in here. Now you just get rid of the navigation, set it to no. So navigation button is set to no, and now you can see that this is what we have. So now that navigation button is set to no, you can see that we don't have any option to search or move to the next record. So what we can do is that we can add a very simple combo box here that we can use to search. So we come in here, combo box, right from the form design tools, click and drag it right into this side. So we select the third option, find a record on my form based on the value I selected in my combo box. We go to next. Now the leaf type will come, and I will set by the type and code. So go to next. Okay, so the key column value will also come. Alright, so now we go to next, and we will say search. We click finish. Okay, so now let us bring this one closer so we can enlarge it to 14 is okay. Now for this one, the color needs to be white, so let us view the form. So now once we click here, we can actually search. Once we click, we can actually search. Okay, so if you want to get rid of this gray bar over here so that everything looks white, you go to design view. Now we were seeing that gray bar because scroll bars have been enabled on this form, although the form in its actual sense will need no scrolling. So you just have to come in here, scroll bars, you set it to neither. So once you set the scroll bars to neither, now let me collapse this one a bit. Okay, so now let's see what happens after we've done that. Okay, so now here you can see that we don't have that gray bar here. So now our leaf type, table, and then also the form is created. The next thing that we need to do is to add buttons. So we go to design view. So the first button, we click here, and then we'll drag across here. So record operations, add new. Okay, so we say new. Now here we hit finish. So let us add one more. So record operations, in fact this one I'll actually cancel it. I'm going to type in my own codes. I will say save. or refresh. Okay, so this one is going to be save or refresh. So right click, build events, code builder, and we will say do cmd dot refresh. This is a very simple macro, a very simple VBA code that will actually save or refresh the entire form for us. So let's go. Now if we want to add a new leave, we click here. So we can say maternity leave ML. So we say maternity leave. So let's say the deduct amount is $30 US. Now we can save. Okay, so once you refresh, you can see it jumps right into that place, and now we have maternity leave also neatly shown you here. Okay, so now we are done with the leave type table. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is to track the employees. So we are going to track the employees, the automated leave tracker. So now what we'll do next is, so already before we go out there, there's going to be a relationship between the leave tracking table and the employee table. So first, let's see what we have here. So now you decide which of the fields here are you going to use in building your relationship. Since we have the primary key here being emp id, then it means that we have to use the emp id as a foreign key in the leave tracking table. So we go to create table design. Okay, so here we say leave id auto number, and in fact I will use 3 digits numbering, so I'll say 000 under formats. Now we click here, it's a primary key. Okay, so now the first thing, the employee id. So the employee id is a number. Okay, so now we wouldn't need the employee name, but what we need is the leave start date. So the leave, so we can say start date. So start date is a date or time. Now you can also say the due date. So due date, which is also date or time. Okay, now so due dates, we can make it end dates. Let's make it end date to actually sound so okay. Now what is the leave type? So here we can say leave type. Okay, so the leave type is going to be a combo box. So we are going to click here in the data type, and we go to lookup wizard. So we make sure that the first option is selected because we're going to look up the values from TBL leave type. So we go to next. So TBL leave types. Now we will need the leave type. Next. So we sort by the code, next, and now we can enable the data integrity by then restricting the delete. Okay, so why did we choose to restrict the delete? We chose to restrict the delete so that even if you delete a particular, by mistake a user remove a leave type from the leave type table, all the associated records wouldn't be deleted. Okay, so now we say that, so TBL leave tracker. Okay, so now let's click. So with the leave type, we come in here because now let us go into view. So you could see that we don't have any option to add a leave type if it is not in here. So you can see there is nothing here because if we had chosen to enter the values ourselves, there will be a very small icon in here that we can use to add a lot of things to the options. So now let us also add an option whereby people can actually add more leave types if they are not present inside the combo. Alright, so to do that, you select the leave type field and go to lookup. Okay, so now we have the allow value list edit yes. So list items edit form, so we need to select a list items edit form. We click here, and that is going to be the FRM leave types. Okay, so now once we go to the data sheet, you can see that we have an option here that once we click, we'll be able to add more items to the combo. Okay, so still in the design view. Now let's ask for the reason. So what's the reason for the leave? So what's the reason for the leave? Okay, so now the reason for the leave, we're actually going to leave it at a long text because this could actually be a whole note, so we leave it right in here. Okay, so now that we are done with this, the next thing is we go and view it in a table form. So here we are. Okay, now we are not going to enter records out here because we don't want to be looking up the employee's ID. So what we are going to do is to create a form. Now we insert that form in employee form and off we are good to go. So here we go to create form wizard. We select everything in here, so it's a columnar type. Okay, so here I'm going to say FRM leave tracking sub. Okay, because this is going to be a sub form. So now I go to design view. So here you're going to say, automate. So we're going to say leave tracking. So leave recording. Okay, so now let us actually do some couple of editings in here. So we select this size widest. Now let's stretch it apart. Okay, so formats, the color needs to be black. Now the size needs to be 12. Okay, so now inside here I will just click and the special effects, I will select this. Okay, so as usual we make this a pop-up form. Now record selector, we can actually allow the record selector, but then navigation also, we will need navigation. So this time around let's actually allow the navigation so that we can easily, but then depending on what you're actually working, if you want to do away with the navigation, it means I have to add your forward and then backward button here, but then I will need the navigation here. So now what we do next is that click here. Now we select, we beautify it a bit. Okay, so the next thing that I will do here, I will select and then bring a very nice rectangle around this. Okay, so next what we'll do is that we add some couple of buttons here. So let us go to the leave type form. Now these same buttons that we have here, we have to copy and then we paste right in here. Okay, so we paste everything right in there. Okay, so align left, size widest. Okay, so now here shape fill, let's select green. Okay, and now size 12. Okay, so here we need to do some couple of validations in here. So now what are some of the validations that we have to do on this particular form? So we need to make sure that the start date and the end date and the leave types wouldn't be null. So we right click here, we come to build events, code builder. Okay, so here we can say dim nkk. So nkk is any variable that is going to actually store a message box. So dim nkk. Now we say if is null me.startDate, then nkk equals mxgbox. So mxgbox, please define a starting date for this leave. Okay, so the message box type is VB critical. Now we're gonna say start date blank. Okay, we are done. So else if is now me dot end dates, then so let's go ahead and copy everything that we have here and then paste right here. So please define ending dates. an ending date. So here we say end date error or blank. Okay, else if is now me dot leave type, then what we do here is that we select this. Now we say that please choose a leave type. Please choose a leave type. So no leave type chosen. Okay. All right. So now let's just assume that at this point in time we can say else do cmd.refresh and then end if. So let's see whether our code is actually working. So you can see that once you click, please define a starting date for this leave, and then please define a starting date for this leave as well. Okay, so now let us go ahead and then also check the date, because now whichever date that you enter, so the starting date or the ending date, so we can go ahead and say that the ending date shouldn't actually be less than the start date. Sorry, it shouldn't be less than the date that we found ourselves, because always the ending date needs to be ahead of today's date. So here we come in here, we are still going to build. So here let us add some couple of codes. So here we'll say else if me dot end date dot value. So if me dot end date dot value, if it is less than, so if it is less than today's date, so if it's less than dates, so if this one is less than the dates, okay, so else if me dot end date of is less than today's dates, then we issue another message box. So we say that, so here we're going to say that end date entered cannot be accepted. Please try again. Okay, so you can say that incorrect end dates. Okay, incorrect end dates. So we can see that incorrect end dates. Now when everything is successful after refreshing, we can also say that nkk is equal to msg box. So here let's issue a congratulations message. So we say leave is successfully recorded. Okay, so the leave is successfully recorded. This one is VB information. So we can say data leave success. Okay, so now we are done. So let's come in here, we can add this. Now the color position, let's send it to back. Okay, so now we view everything right in here again. Okay, so now everything is looking very good. So let's close, save yes. Okay, now we are going to insert this one at some part of the employee profile. So we are going to copy this and paste. So we say leave FRM parent leave track. Okay, so FRM parent leave track. Now what we are going to do here is that we are going to say, so of course this is going to be a leave tracking, so we just close everything right in here. Okay, So now what we'll do here is that we are going to do away with some of the information that we have here. So for example, we are going to need only, so let me remove this. Now shape fill white. Okay, so now we are going to delete all this. We wouldn't need this. Okay, we will need employees image, of course. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is that we are going to remove this also. Okay, so now we select everything here. All right, so now the next thing we are going to do is that we bring the FRM leave tracking sub. So we are going to insert this one right in here. So we bring it neatly across here. Okay, so now let us position it inside this side, this point. Okay, so now once we've inserted it here, we are going to create a relationship. So here we select it, we go to data, now link master, and then child. So here we click emp ID. So we use the emp IDs to create a relationship and employee ID. Okay, so now here we go to the form view, and you can see that we are ready to record leave for the first employee. So what is the start date? So let's say it's today, and the end date, let's say, is 5/20/2023. Now what's the leave type? So let's say this one is a leave without pay. Now we just have to save. Leave is successfully recorded. Okay, so if you want to, if this person comes for another leave, so let's say this leave is for a travel and employee pays. So now we save again. Now we can also add a new leave, so we go to new. So now here, once we click new, the same employee, what is the start date? So let's say start date will be on the 30th, and employee is going to report on the, so on 6/6/2023. So here we click this one, let's say it's a casual leave, and now we can save. Okay, so now if you want to go to the next employee, so what do we do? Now let us move on and activate the navigation. But ordinarily you can actually click here to search, or you can also add some forward and next buttons right in here. So let's do that. So next. Okay, so we can come in here and then add a search bar here. So we use a combo next. So let's see whether we have the employee full name. Okay, so what we're going to do is first name and last name, next. So here we say search. Okay, so here we click. We can enlarge this also. Okay, so here we select. Now let's make this one black, and the color here we can actually fade it a bit. Let's select this. Okay, so now we can also add a forward and back button. So we come in here now, right in here we can click record navigation, go to previous, finish. Now we add another one. So record navigation, go to next, finish. Okay, so we can add these ones here. Now the color we can, all right, so this is looking okay. All right, so now here we can go to next employee and then start recording. We can also come right in here and search. So we click, now we can search for an employee. We click and we can search to search for an employee. So start date, so let's say it's today. Now it's going to be 5/12/2023. So sick leave, present, employee is admitted. employees admitted. Okay, so here too we save. So now let us open the leave tracking table so you can see that the data is actually being populated right in here. Okay, so if a different employee comes, you select the employee. Now what's the start date? So let's say it's today. What's the end date? So let's say this one is going to come on 5th 27th 2023. Okay, so now we can save it right in here. Okay, so here you can see please choose a leave type. So we click, now we select privilege leave. Okay, so alright, so now that is the data that we actually have for now. So let me add one more for the staff member so that we'll get enough data to actually do. So let's say 20th 23. Now we say choose a leave type. So let's say this one is sick or casual leave. Casual leave is fine, so we save. Okay guys, so now this is how far that we've actually come. So now the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to work on this form also, because now we need enough space to actually insert another subform that will show every employee's leave detail. So guys, let's go to the FRM leave tracking sub and then work on it. So let's close the table. So here we click design view. Now what we are going to do is that we select the whole of this, we bring it here. So we add this one neatly here. Okay, so now you can see that what we're doing, I'm very much interested in engineering, and I believe also interested with the form designing. There are a couple of videos in my channel you can watch, and then also I mean, once you watch those videos, you become very good at how to design forms. So we are not concentrating much on the form designs, but then rather the engineering and how the whole concept behind the employee leave management. Okay, so now this is what you've actually done so far. So the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to create a query on a TBL leave tracking. Now this query, what is it going to do? This query is going to actually estimate or give us the number of days that every employee has to, or each blessed day it keeps on telling us the number of days that the employee has to the due date. Okay, or the number of days left for an employee's leave to actually end. Okay, so now we go to create query design. So TBL leave tracker. Now we're going to need employee table so that we can get the names of the employee. But then already, so we come to employee TBL. Okay, now once we come in here, we also need the TBL leave types. Okay, all right, so you can see automatically the relationship is built because of the lookup that we built. So now employee ID, we join it to the employee ID here so that we can actually fetch the names of the employees once we get the details here. So let's see. So once we double click here, we have chosen to double click the star. So if you click the star, it means that star means select all, I mean the SQL. So if you want to see the SQL syntax, now you can just right click over here and come to SQL view. Now you can see we have select from TBL dot star, everything out there. So now that's what we have, all the columns and then all the rows. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, as we want to see over here, we only have the employees ID, we don't know their names, so we want to also reference them by their names. So we can also click their first name and last name, and now you can see we have the first name and the last name also neatly showing us here. Okay, yes, but then I wouldn't like to show the first name and the last name, but I would rather like to adjoin them. So I will right click, build. We are going to create an extra column, so we're going to say emp name, and emp name is going to be employee TBL dot first name and employee TBL dot last name. Okay, so that is that here. So now you can see we have the employee name here. Okay, so here, although the first name and last name are here, but then we've actually unchecked, so it means they are not showing against the show. Okay, so now the most important thing also, we will need the employees. Now we are going to need their telephone and then their email, so that sometimes we can call them and their departments. Okay, so we have their departments also neatly showing us here. Okay, now the most important thing, how many days do we have remaining for an employee's leave to actually end? So here we come to the start date and then the end date. So what we're going to do is that we uncheck it, so it won't actually show. Now you can also choose not to even bring it here at all, but then still reference them in your code or in your calculated column. So here we go to build. Now we say countdown. So countdown. Now we use a date div. So we say date div. We count the number of days. So D. Now between the end dates. So between the end date. So between the TBL leave tracker dot end dates and then the system dates. Okay, so let's run. So now once you run, so here you can see it is giving us negative. So since it's giving us negative, then what does it imply? So you could see that the end dates were larger than, or they actually exceed the system date, so we have to switch the positions. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that we are going to copy the entirety of what we have here. Okay, so we copy and we bring that here. Okay, and we bring that here. So now we save and we run. So now you can see, so this leave has 21, 52 days remaining, 13. Now the good news here is that at every blessed day, the system is going to give you new values, or is going to update itself with the date or the time. So now Control S to save. So we say QRY leave extended. QRY leave extended. Okay, so here let's save it. All right, so now that we have this particular query here, which is going to be a basis for most of our reports and then our subform. So we are going to create a data sheet that will actually give us a summary of our employees leave history. So here we go to create form. So we will need the employee ID, we will need the employee name. Okay, so now we are going to also need the leave type. Now we're going to need the countdown. So now we can also track the start date and the end date. So start date and the end date, leave type, and now also the countdown. Next, so this I will make it a data sheet. Next, so I will say leave FRM leave summary. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll do some couple of formatting here. So the background color white. Now make sure alternate is set to none, and then also I will expand this a bit. So we select everything. Now let us increase the size to let's see 14, whether 14 is gonna look good. Okay, so 14 is okay. Okay, so now here you can see that we have the employee ID. So let's set it to center, and now the countdown also showing us over here. All right, so now that we have this, we can actually do some total. So we total it here. Let us count. So we count. Okay, so now what we have here, we can actually do some couple of conditional formatting. So we can do some couple of conditional formattings. So we go to conditional formatting. Now if the field value is greater than 0, it means that it is actually a grace period. So let us fill it with black and the color change to white. Now unless also if it is equal to 0, if it is equal to 0, it means that it's dangerous because the time is up. So we actually fill it with white color. Okay, so let's also check when it's less than 0. So when it's less than 0, then we fill it with this color. Now we hit OK, apply, and we are good to go. Okay, so as soon as an employee's countdown shows green, it means that that leave is not up yet. But then as soon as you see red, it signifies that the leave is actually up, and then otherwise we actually gonna do the yellow color. Okay, so now what I will do here is that I will come right in here to where we have the parent form that we created here. So we are going to attach the employees. So design view. Okay, so now let's minimize this a bit. Now the next thing that I will do, we are going to add the data sheet that we just created, which is a FRM leave summary. So we click and then drag it right here. Okay, so we click, now we drag it right here. Okay, so here you can actually choose to maximize it a bit or enlarge it a bit. So let's select this and push it across here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do here is formats. Let's do the anchoring. So make sure that horizontal anchor is both and then vertical anchor is also both. Now shape outline, I'll select transparent. Okay, now let's do the linking. So link master and chart fields. So no, we are going to actually link using the employee ID. So employee ID, and then also employee ID here. Okay, now let's enlarge this. So let us enlarge this a bit. Okay, so guys, now once we come in here, let me activate the maximize button for the parent form. So format, min max, so let's show both. Okay, so now here we are. Once you maximize, so now you can see everything showing neatly here. So we have to enlarge this form also here slightly, so let us enlarge it. Okay, now we can add a sync button. So sync, now this button I will say sync form. So sync form, build events, code, do cmd.refresh. Okay, so now form view, so let us enlarge it. So once you click sync, it synchronizes the whole thing for you. Okay, so let us say we want to mark leave for Andy. So what is the start date? So let's say the start date is 30th, and the end date, so let's say the end date is going to be May 25th. Now what is the leave? So let's say it's privilege leave. So the reason, I'll leave it blank, I'll save. So now once I synchronize, it jumps right into it and it tells us that he has 26 days to leave over. So if he takes another leave, so let's say he takes this leave in May, and now the deadline is going to be June 23rd. You can also save. So let's choose a leave type, so it's casual leave. Now we save. So once you sync, you can see that it also jumps here and he has 55 days to leave over. Okay, so now this is how far. So let me go over all that we've done up to this point. So up to this point, what we've done is we've been able to show every employee. We've been able to actually develop models that we used to, one, record the leave types, and then also models that we use to record the leaves, and a data sheet over here that will show you the employees leave history. So if you're looking for an employee's leave history, you just come in here and search for that. Okay, so now the next things that we are going to do is a reporting. So we are going to do the employee wise reporting. So here we go to we are going to open the leave extended, create. So here we say a report wizard. Okay, so we're going to need the employee ID, So we're gonna need employee ID, we're gonna need employee name, leave start date and leave end date, leave type. Now countdown, next. Okay, so you can do the grouping of the employees leave by the leave type. So you go to next, employee ID, next. So I want block, so let's choose landscape, finish. Okay, so here you can see under leave type CL for the, so this one has done the grouping for all the employees. So CL, these are the employees and the account down, so and then the other one. So let us save the reports, go to the design view. So you can go to the design view. Now I will not do much on the reports here, but what I'm interested in is just to change the title here. So you can change the title to leave reports. So leave reports. Now let's select everything and then we stick to 12. The size 12 is also okay, and the color is black here. So now let's report here and see. Okay, so now the report looks good. Let's make it a pop-up. So right, you come in here, pop-up is yes, and now auto center is also set to yes. So scroll bars will allow only the vertical scroll bar. Okay, so now this is what we have now here, which actually looks very good here. So there we have to separate the employee ID and employee name a bit. So what I will do is alignments, I will make it left align, because the other one, the name is right. So now this is how far that we've actually managed to come. So let's go ahead and then also expand our title. So let's choose 20. 20 is too small, so let's choose 26. Okay, so now we have the leave reporting so this is the general leave reporting. So once you click here, you see a summary of your leave reportings, So now we can still apply the conditional formatting over here, so that if it is still green, we will see. So let's come in here, design view, countdown, conditional formatting. So here, if it is greater than 0, it's still grace period. So green. Now color becomes white, bold. Now I'll just do when it is equal to 0. So when it is equal to 0, we should show red. Okay, now we have it neatly showing here. So as you can see, we are actually good to go here. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to apply a hyperlink here. So I'll add a hyperlink to the employee ID. So it's a hyperlink. Now when you click this hyperlink, it should come and open the FRM parent leave tracker. This is what we do. So here we say, we right click here, build events macro. So we say open form. So let's click here and select the form. So parent leave tracker, but the web condition is where the emp ID so is equal to and emp ID there, emp ID there. So here, okay, so now let us test the hyperlink to see. Okay, so the object doesn't contain the emp ID. Okay, so it's just a mismatch of the ID. So now let's actually go to the design view over here to confirm. So you can see the emp ID here. So we have to just on this parent form, it is emp ID. So now what we do is that we still come in here, events. Now let's click here. So it means that emp ID needs to rather come here. So emp ID, and here is going to be employee ID. Okay, so we are good to go now. Report view. Now once you click, you can see it opens. So once you click, you can see it opens. So let us add one more. line of macro to it to expand when it opens. So we say maximize window. Okay, so now we close everything. Let's close here too. So now QR leave extended. So once you click, it opens the particular employee. So if it is one Smiler, so you can see that it opens to show you Smiler's data. So it opens to show you Smiler's data also. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that if it comes here, we'll also be interested in at a point printing only the summary report for a particular employee. So we go to design view here. Now I will add another print. So I will say, let me add it here. So here I will say prints reports, or we can say leave reports. So that sounds good. Leave reports. Okay, so leave report here. Let me change the style. So let me change the style to this. Now 14 is okay. So this is going to be, so this is also going to be, right click here, we add a code, build event, macro builder. So we say open reports, and what's the report? So report is crew ROI leave extended. Now equal to, so equal to employee ID. So equal to employee ID equals and emp ID. Okay, now here, because to just a single record on this form is going to have associated a lot of records out there, so we say we concatenate with open quotation apostrophe close quotation ampersand. Now you do the same thing here again, so ampersand open quotes apostrophe open quote. Now that is that. So let us go to form view and see. So missing or item inquiry employee equals 4. Okay, so let's go and check it again. So leave reports, so employee ID equals, okay, so for the first place, let me clean these things. Let's test whether in this single way is going to probably work for us. Okay, so missing or item inquiry expression employee ID equals 4. Okay, so now to solve the whole situation, let's come to the QRI leave extended. So before then, let's go to the query. Now this query, because of the relation, let us add the emp ID right here. Okay, so now when you add the emp ID, we come to the report here, add the existing. So we add emp ID also here, arrange, tabular, remove layout. But then we are not going to show this. We are only going to reference it in the where condition. So visible, we set it to no, and now we can drag it somewhere here. We can drag this one also somewhere here. Okay, so now that we have this, we close. Now we can go back here. This time around, we can confidently use the same emp IDs to avoid any confusion. So we say equal to, so emp ID equals emp ID. Okay, so let's save, try it out and see. Okay, so now it works for us. So if I want to report an employee's leave, I just come in here and I click and I get Andy Goffrey's leave. So if once I click here, Sandra Diza, and I'll get her leave report also. Okay, now on this leave report, we are also going to add the balance, because if an employee's leave is actually overdue, we should actually estimate the amount that a person owes. So we can come here, so we go back to the query, design. So now from the TBL leave type, the deduction amount, we can just reference it. So we come right in here. Now we say Now what we are going to do here is that if it is positive, the employee doesn't actually owe, but then if it is negative, so we say that so debts, so leave debts, so you can say leave debts. So leave debts. Now we're going to say here, what we're going to do here is that we say if the countdown is less than 0, if the countdown is less than 0, then we take the negative of the countdown and we multiply by the TBL leave types dot deduction amount. Okay, so now let us try this one out. So let me go over the expression. So if the countdown is less than 0, it means that the leave is overdue. Then we just have to take the negative of the countdown, we multiply by the deduction amount, the associated deduction amount, then we run. So here, let's see. So here you can see there's nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing. Alright, so that is very impressive. But then if it is nothing, it should show 0. So let's go back again. So here, what we're gonna do here is that if the countdown, so we can copy the whole of this, we cut, now we say NZ, so NZ of the whole expression. Now if it is now, then we put 0 there, so we close. Now we can run. Okay, so now you can actually see 0, 0, 0, 0 here, and let's format it as a currency. So format, so sorry, let's click here, formats. Alright, so no problem, since it's not giving us the option to format, because it's actually because of the NZ, it's because of the NZ, that's why we are not actually able to format. So we can still leave it, but then we can apply the format on the report also. Okay, so I believe you are enjoying this particular video. So if you have any comments, kindly put it down in the video, the comment section. Okay, so now it means that we can come right here, and now we say we add another leave debts column. So you can say leave debts, arrange this tabular, remove. Okay, so we can drag this one here. Alright, so now that we have this, the leave debts, what we do, put it here. Now let me apply the format painter. So we add, let me apply, we add right here. Okay, so now that we have this, we are going to actually sum. So leave debts, you come to format, sorry, let's go to report design, totals. So now here you can see we are unable to also do any kind of summations because of the NZ, so what we can still do, we can leave it just as it is, or if you still want to sum the leave debts, then it means that we have to also go out there and then remove. So let us actually do that, because we should be able to do the summing. So the leave extended, leave debts. Now that you know how to set the NZ, and you also know 8, we've also seen, 8 also drawback. So we are going to remove it, but then if you still wish to use it, feel free, go ahead to actually use it. So okay, now we can run. Alright, so here there is none here, so even we are not going to get anything here. So this time around we can come here and then property sheets. Once we click format, we can see we can apply the currency here. Okay, so let me go to the parent leave tracker. So let's assume that an employee's leave, so let's set this one also to today. So let's set it to today, and then we sync. So you can see now this one is up. Let's do for another person. So let's say that this one is also today, so we sync. You can see it's red. Okay, so now if we run, you can see, sorry, let us refresh. All right, so now let me close the query, open it again. All right, so now we are still not getting values because you can see it's equal to 0, but then the expression is less than or equal to 0. So let's make this one, let's say 25th. Let's say 25th. So let's select the other person. So this one, let's say is 28th. Okay. All right. So now, once we come here, you can see that some of them are owing. So this is what we mean. So this one is overdue by 4, and if we check the leave type, this one is leave without pay. So let's say leave without pay. Let's check the corresponding amount. So leave without pay is 90. So here 90 times 4, which is going to give you 360. So our code is actually working logically. Okay, so now that we're here, let's go back here, and you can see that they are also working right here, the leave debt. Okay, so the leave debt, let me make the color red because it's dangerous that you should be owing. So now let me click here, and then under report design we can now apply the sum. Okay, so let me apply some formatting. We bold it as such. Okay, and we can bold them. Okay, so here this is a subtotal for a group. So this is subtotal. Okay, so this is subtotal, and we bold it here. Let me copy again. So this is the grand total. So grand total. Okay, so I can remove this here. Okay, so now you can see that the report has, for every group we can see the subtotal. So that is the total debt, and the grand total also neatly shown you here. So if you want to see how much an employee is owing for a leave, you click leave reports. Now you can see the outstanding leave debt. Now this outstanding leave debt, if you had followed those videos on our school fees management, you can actually try as much as possible to create a very simple form that will aggregate the total leave debt and then show it right over here. In fact, I will do that, but then that is going to be in the part 2 of this particular video. So now, having come this way, this is part 1 of the leave management. I actually want to limit the video length up to a certain point, so we are going to end here, guys. I believe we have come a very long way, and now we've actually done quite a number of amazing things on the leave management database. So this is not the end. Part 2 is going to be uploaded as soon as possible, and then we shall be doing the extensive reporting, and then go as much as even show the leave debt over here, and then also do leave reporting between certain dates, yearly leave reporting, monthly leave reporting, and then weekly. I believe you have really loved this video and has impacted you a lot. So now still the link to the project is with the leave is going to be added up in the video description, so you can actually check it out there. Thank you very much for your patience in waiting for this video to be uploaded. Guys, leave your comments and let's make the community an interesting place of all. Thank you very much for watching. If you would like to contact me, check the video description, any of them, and you see my email address or WhatsApp number. Thank you. Look forward to uploading the second video. Bye.